Hello and welcome to Paris Set Me Free, Paris Photo Tutorials. Here in this set of 4, which I reduced a lot more down to, you can see we've got this funny sort of little bar thing here. Bright red bar with green edging. Seems to be the theme of the day because a little while ago I was talking about a bright red barge with a green part on it. So red and green, very much flavour of the day, or colour scheme of the day, and it was quite striking. This is in Parc de la Villette, very interesting place for photographs, and we were coming from the south, and you have to go up a bridge, or you go up a bridge and then you get into the park by going down this bridge that you can see going down here, and you can see the difference in these shots. They're all taken from exactly the same place, didn't move an inch. Here's some guy coming up. Let's have a look at this one in more detail. Some guy coming up the stairs. A touch of red. You see, almost everything is a kind of shades of grey. Even the tree, which is supposed to be green, is almost greyed out. So there was just this bright red, bright green, and a touch of red in his shirt. So that could have been a possibility. I thought maybe, but then I thought, well, you can really see who the guy is. So I thought maybe that's not such a good idea. You know, just out of respect, I guess. And also, you know, there isn't that much of a relationship between this crazy funny little bar and this guy, so I passed on that one. Now here was the next one. Now this is much more interesting. For one thing, the colours are brighter. If you have a look at the colour of the bar there, that's kind of a pale, almost sort of peachy pink, whereas there it's a good stunning bright red to start off with, which is a good sign. And the paving stones here are much sharper, much punchier as well. Compare them again to this. That was a bit fuzzy. So this has got a bit more potential in terms of quality starting off with. And then you've got this guy, this lone guy wandering over to the bar, which seems to be either, well, it doesn't seem to be the most welcoming bar I've ever seen. So there's a kind of, already I've got a kind of funny, it's making me smile a little bit, you know, sort of irony of it. Then here's a couple more. He'd walked a bit further on. There he has more of a purposeful stride to him, and you've got this woman coming in as well. So if you want the woman, if you think that she adds something to the photograph, fair enough. But then again, I'm not sure if she does. She's also, if you have her in as well, you've condemned yourself to having nothing between her and the edge of the frame. Whereas if you get rid of the woman in the first shot, this can be a kind of frame, limiting frame on the edge of this side of the picture, to frame him more closely, along with this bar coming down here. So probably didn't go for the woman. Then here's another shot with the woman actually stopped looking this way, looking out of the shot, which really breaks the, I don't know, it doesn't, kind of breaks the harmony of it, and there's some kid running. Now this could have been okay, you know, might have cropped it more tightly, had the woman looking this way, the guy looking this way, but I couldn't really feel that there was much of a story there, and I much preferred the lone guy wandering sort of forlornly towards this absolutely weird and totally unwelcoming bar. Plus, look at the contrast, everything around almost chilly black and white. You almost think that it's winter. You could almost imagine snow sitting on the edge of these branches here, with this bright red and green bar absolutely closed, with this big sign saying bar, with a big arrow, sort of surreal arrow pointing down to this rectangular closed box in lurid colours. So I found this a very, very funny, very strange picture. So I went with this one in the end. Plus the compositional elements. Looking down is a nice change from always looking from someone's eye level standing at the street. Gives you a completely different perspective. So I always keep your eyes open, you know, if you find any sort of elevation, or even you can get lower than people. It's always good to check it out, just in case it gives you a much more interesting shot, which is often the case. Nicely framed here by this bar, and then this, you see the angle here between this and this is actually a right angle, but because this is sloping down, and maybe I've tilted the camera slightly. These are actually a right angle of itself within a slightly different angled right angle, if you follow. And then you've got more angles on this thing here. Dong dong boom boom. So it's a very angular shot with a nice diagonal between the guy bottom left, kind of forlornly stepping towards this bar, which you might imagine could hopefully be open, but is not in the slightest bit open, up in the top right. There's only a flaw in this photograph as far as I'm concerned, and that is this woman here, just the edge of her coat, which is obviously brown, which is not very pleasant, or beige, as it doesn't fit in with the rest of the photograph. Little photographic trickery is not really my thing, so I thought I'd leave her in, because you don't really see her actually unless you're looking. She kind of gets in the way. This would have been a nice sharp black angle to echo this one here, and she kind of ruins that for me. But having said that, most people wouldn't see it, and the real relationship and the strength of this photograph, I think, is the little guy bottom left and this big bright red green weird empty closed bar, but proudly proclaiming nonetheless that it's a bar with an arrow looking down in case you have any doubt, pointing down, and these two lines here, this one and this one, plus this corner is nicely sealed off by the continuation of this chrome bar, and the rest of it's just a bit of foliage which doesn't really get in the way, gives you a sense of place. These tree trunks here echo this much stronger bar here in the same vertical line. A couple of people there, don't know if they enhanced the picture or not, but they're so small it doesn't really matter. Parc de la Villette in the north-east of Paris. I always have to say, never eat shredded wheat. That's the way, north-east, south-west, never eat shredded wheat. That's the way I learnt those compass points. In retrospect, I always ask myself, that's all very well saying never eat shredded wheat, but how do you know whether to start, with never is at the top, eat is at 3 o'clock, shredded is at 6 o'clock, and wheat is at 9 o'clock. Why don't you go the other way? 12 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 3 o'clock. Anyway, that's the way I do it, even as a big grown-up adult of 43 years old. So there we are. So Parc de la Villette, as I said, great place if you can get yourself out of the centre for a bit. Take your camera. There's loads and loads of photographic opportunities. Look up, look down. There's weird stuff. There's architectural stuff. There's enormous mirror globes encasing IMAX cinemas. There's weird Second World War black German U-boats. There's lots of these chrome things. There's loads and loads of things to look into. So, worth getting slightly out to the edges of Paris from time to time. Right, that's it for this time. See a better quality version of this on the blog at parissetmefree.blogspot.com, and see you next time, folks. Bye-bye.
Depuis que je suis à Paris, le jour et la nuit, je suis gris. J'ai compris la douceur de vivre. Je suis fou de joie, je suis ivre. Depuis que je suis à Paris.